Hello, hello, caregiving family. This is a spur of the moment live. So I know I will miss a lot of you, and most will watch probably later, watch the replay. But this song just really popped into my spirit about 30 minutes ago, and I was walking around my house singing it, and then I just felt the unction to come into this group. And the song is simply called Encourage Yourself. For those of you who are familiar with Donald Lawrence and Tri City, it's an older song, at least a decade old. But the words go, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. No matter how you feel, speak the word and you will be healed. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. And that's the words of the song. And I was singing that. Speak over yourself, encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And that's when it was like, I need to share this with the caregiving community today. Because for some of you, you are at a point, a high point of discouragement. You're at a place of discouragement that you haven't felt, at a place of discouragement, a level of discouragement that you haven't been to in a long time. And then for others, you haven't been to before. You haven't been at this point, this level, this depth of discouragement. And so I am here to just encourage you. Speak over yourself during this test, during this time. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself. As a caregiver, we know that we know the challenges that come along with being a caregiver. We've experienced them, and I say that from a space of connection and kindred, from a kindred space, not at all to minimize when I say we know, but I say we know because we're living it. We have lived it. So connection, kindred. And so it is a challenging role, a difficult job, a thankless job in many cases. And so with that in mind, you cannot wait for others to encourage you. You cannot wait for others to speak over you. That may not happen, quite honestly and sadly to say, but that may not happen. So, with that in mind, it is incumbent upon you. It is critical, it is important for you to speak over yourself during these points where you are discouraged, where you find yourself even slipping into an abyss of discouragement. When you find that you have already slipped into that, I encourage you to speak over yourself. Affirmations is another way to put it in a more contemporary secular term. Affirmations, they are important. Proverbs 18:21 tells us that life and death are in the power of our mouth, of our tongue. And so it's important that you speak over yourself. And so I just want to share a couple of things. If you for those who may be saying, I don't know what to say, Taraline, that sounds great, but what am I supposed to say? I've got you. I've got a couple of suggestions for you of things that you can say that as you speak over yourself. Number one, the first thing that you can say is, I am doing a great work. Yeah. I don't want anybody in your life to minimize your role as a caregiver. Don't you allow anybody to minimize the role that you are playing. You are doing a great work. My sister, my brother, you are doing a great work. You are on the wall in somebody else's life. You are filling a void in somebody else's life. You are playing a great role in somebody else's life. So let that first and foremost be reflected in the record. that so that when you encourage yourself, you are able to say unequivocally, I am doing a great work. Yes. Square your shoulders, steady yourself, and stabilize yourself in the fact that you can say, I'm doing a great work. I didn't say I'm doing a perfect work, but I know I'm doing a great work. Yes, Lord, you are doing a great work. And secondly, I am making a difference in somebody else's life. As you encourage yourself, I'm doing a great work. And then secondly, I am making a difference in someone else's life. And then context, putting things in proper context. As you encourage yourself, it is important for you to say, I've got to take one day at a time. Hey, Valerie, good to see you on. I got to take one day at a time. And sometimes during the course of the day, it may have to be like, you know what, in the Lord's Prayer, we would say, give us this day our daily bread. Sometimes you have to break that down and compartmentalize it. Maybe it's not just today, but maybe it's 1 hour at a time, 1/2 hour at a time, one moment at a time, because we don't always know what the day is going to bring. The day can shift. Sometimes we wake up and we were in a good spirit. Our loved one was in a decent place, but then during the course of the day, things shift. So you may need to say, okay, let me steady myself. Let me get myself together 1 hour at a time. Lord, help me to get through this hour. Pray for this hour. Pray for this time and this space that I'm in, and pray that it shifts back into some level of normalcy or goodness within the next hour or later in the day. That's how you encourage yourself. I'm going to take one day at a time. I'm going to take 1 hour at a time. I'm going to take one moment at a time. And I'm going to believe and pray that this is going to normalize and adjust and steady. I'm going to return to some level of stability at some point today. If not today, then you know what? Tomorrow is another day. That's how we encourage ourselves. Doing a great work. I'm making a difference in somebody else's life. Also knowing that your dedication and your work is not going unnoticed. Your loved one may not be in a capacity where they're able to give you atta girls and atta boys and pat you on the back. They may not have that capacity. They may not have the mental and emotional capacity. Your family members may not support you. We know, my God, that so many caregivers they don't get the support. We don't get as much support as we would like from our loved ones, from our family members. But please, please, please know that your work, your labor of love is not going unnoticed. Somebody sees you. And if no human person tells you they see you, know that God does indeed see you and the work that you are doing. It's not going unnoticed. Not going unnoticed. And sometimes you got to tell yourself also, I'm doing the best that I can. It's like, here nor there, great, bad, indifferent, maybe make some mistakes. I have some missteps at times, but you know what? Today, I'm going to tell myself, I am doing the very best that I can. You got to tell yourself that sometimes, because sometimes you will feel, hey, namesake, how you doing? Sometimes you will feel beat up, especially as other family members, other loved ones give you, their 2 cents worth, and they give you their opinions, when they give you unsolicited input, or when you're at odds with them, when you're not agreeing with other loved ones and other family members. Sometimes you can get down on the job that you're doing, but you have got to be able to tell yourself and reassure yourself in the fact that I am doing the best. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm working with the resources that I have. I'm playing the hand for you card players. I'm playing the hand that's been dealt to me, and I'm playing it in the best way possible. Sometimes you have to, that's what you have to say to yourself. I'm doing the best that I can, and I can't do anymore. And you also, as you encourage yourself, you have got to also encourage yourself with the fact that you too are still worthy of living. You are. Being a caregiver calls for a huge amount of sacrifice. We know that. It does. It calls for a great amount of sacrifice. But it does not mean that your life is over. You are still worthy of living. You're still worthy of life. You're still deserving of living and having an abundance in your own life. It is difficult. You're right, Tara. It is. It is difficult to try to carve out your own life because your schedule has to shift. It has to be rearranged, has to be adjusted. Some of the things that you wanted to do, used to do, you can't do any longer. But carve out, I encourage you, for your own mental capacity to remain intact, carve out something every month that you can do that's enjoyable for you. Something for you, whether it's going to get a pedicure, going to take a walk, but something, hey Sensen, something that you can do for you because you're worth it. If you've got to fight to do it, to negotiate with somebody to help your loved one while you get away, but yes, you are worth it. And yes, Valerie, without guilt. And I know it is very challenging. I speak to so many and communicate with many in this group who don't have the support that you need. But it is important for you to remind yourself, listen, and sometimes you have to remind your family members, listen, I'm already handling the brunt of this. But I need you to meet me. I need you to meet me here, like halfway, a quarter of the way. Can you just give me a Saturday to myself? Can you give me a few hours on Saturday? Can you give me just a little space so I don't have a breakdown? Yeah. Yes, and you have, I see you. You have let go and you've done it without guilt. Because they will guilt trip you. Well, I got a life too. Well, yes, and so do I. And that's why I'm saying I need a little help. Like, so those are just a couple of things to encourage you as caregivers to for you to speak to yourself. Again, that song, Donna Lawrence, just came up to my spirit earlier today, a little bit ago, and just come in the group, and I was impressed upon me to come in here. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. So encourage yourself. If you came on later, if you're catching the replay, encourage yourself. I just wanted to share a couple of things that you can say to yourself as you encourage yourself along this caregiving journey. And one of the biggest things to say to yourself is, God is still for me. Yes, Lord. God is still for me. He's still for you. As you sacrificed, as you've given up, as you continue to give up, as you feel yourself slipping, encourage yourself in the fact that God is still for you. He's still on your side. He hasn't left your side. He hasn't given your life up. Your life is not over. Your life is not done. But please know that your life still matters. You are still important. God is still on your side. He really is. I say that from my own personal posture. It is so real that this journey is extremely difficult. But it is also but God is also so real. And he will continue to be real in our lives. He will continue to be real. Let him be real. Let him send strength from unlikely places, send encouragement, send support. Watch him send it from unlikely places. Watch him change people's hearts and change no's to yeses. Watch him. Watch him. Encourage yourself. Speak over yourself. I'm stronger than I think I am. I'm stronger. One of the things that caregiving taught me is I'm stronger than I thought I was. Truth. I didn't have to. Caregiving put my strength. Can anybody attest to this? Caregiving put my strength. This is just me talking. My strength to a test that I had never imagined, and it helped me to see that God is helped me to see God. Let me say it. See how to say. God gave me strength that I did not imagine. He gave me strength in ways that I did not imagine, and emotional strength that I did not imagine, mental strength that I did not imagine, and He'll do that for you too. Yeah, yeah, Valerie, we're stronger than we imagine, and God continues to cover you. Sometimes there'll be times where you're saying, well, who's going to care for me? Who's going to cover me? Know that through it all, God continues to cover you. He continues to cover every one of you in this group. And so I just speak encouragement. I speak strength. I speak life. I speak joy. Even in a low place, I just heard that. There's some, the Lord said, who are slipping into a place, a low place, and you're like, how do I get out of this? God, and then there's others who already have slid into that, and you're like, how did I get here? One key to get out is to speak over yourself, to encourage yourself. I speak over you now that God is with you, that you are still more than a conqueror. I speak over yourself that you are still victorious. I speak over you that your life is not over. I speak over you that your life matters. It still matters. It does. I speak that over you. You are still important in the mind of God and in the world of God. Even though your world in some ways feels shattered, God is still for you. So yes, that's it. I just wanted to share that. Be encouraged. Continue to be encouraged. Love you all most much. Have a great day. Hey, Dr. Ilana. Have a great day.